Well, I'll say above all things that it is getting to a point where I feel there's a little more work we can get on here to do, a little more work we can get on here to show, and of all things I have to show now, it's just a little more how things are going to turn out in the long run. And I've already put this much work into the figures the last time around, and I think we're going to kind of take on a different step this time. There's some things we kind of wait till the end to do, but I think this would probably be a good time to try to narrow out the arms a little bit. And I say for what we're doing this time around, it's going to work a little better ways, and I say we're going to try to shave along the back here and make these things so the back comes out a little better and a little more fine. And oh, the work we're gonna make out of this, I say that it's always just a little work we do, and I say that it's gonna come along. We just kind of rounded them off in the back. There comes a little moment where you can kind of round them off in the front as well, and try to take care of these little things, round them off as they need to be. So we've got one arm done that way. We got another one to go, needs to come along as well. And I say little work comes on and makes us all see a little ways as far as how things shall go, and all the things we'll see in life as we get a little better. Decided I'd go ahead and take care of this part of the skull as well. Not really a skull, but more like just a little part of the face here, the area around the hood of the face, and all the little work we're going to try to take into that as well. And as a matter of fact, this is about how we got it to come out here, and we're going to kind of take the same little step on this other one as well. You know, we're getting chips all over the sofa here, but you know, we're at least getting the work put into this. And there's probably going to come a time when I'm going to get a little bit more technically advanced, be able to show a little more through a better lens, show it a little more where it can be a little bit more visible to y'all, and how much more work comes into this little project and makes itself like the way we just want to see things be. Oh, little projects of faith and glory, I say. The joke of all things, I say that this is just a little thing with Fudgy and tell me about it, and all the little things I do, I say that, you know, a little work shall come its way, and we're gonna try to shave along the hands, try to make them so they'll be a little better to work with, a little better to see, a little better to use, give us a little bit more work to do. And I say that it's all just little things in our lives that make us all just become wonderful little souls as we see the light of Jesus come to the world and unto us. And oh, the things we do, oh, the things in glory, oh, the things that shine their ways to us and make us see the light of all things and brighten our world and show us a little grace and mercy and give us all a little time in our lives when we see the things that, oh, the things we see. I say that little work comes this way, and I say that some things just have to be smoothed out a little bit just to get all the lines out, get all the work out. And I say this is going to be a little bright, shiny thing. Once we get it all done, it's going to brighten us up. And I say that this little thing is showing up, making us see a little light in our paths. And I say this is just going to be the work of my life. Making little Santas out of wood and walnut. It's just a thing I think we all just kind of need. We're getting back to having our events this year. We got the autism walk coming back. We haven't had that in a few years because of the pandemic. It just so happens this year, I hear we're having our autism banquet in December coming back. We're going to do our setup for that as we've always done, and we're going to have a lot to show and a lot to share and a lot to give in the grace of God for all the work we do and all the passion we show. I say grace comes and grace goes. I say that it's all just a little good in us. I tell y'all that this little work of ours, oh, the passion rises, how it comes, how it goes, bright lightning and shining thunder and all the little things we make glow, and it glows and it glows. Somehow or another I managed to get a sharp enough knife because it's really going into this walnut. Walnut is a harder wood. Walnut is also a toxic wood. Most woods that nuts grow off of, the trees, I say there's a little toxin that's in them. It's called juglone. It's a toxin about the tree that there's many ways you want to be careful about it. Of all the things a juglone virus can do in walnut is, you use walnut chips as mulch in your garden. They can kill certain plants such as tomatoes or blueberries. If, let's say, you plant a walnut tree near a garden, that'll also kill the plants. If you plant a walnut tree around grass, the poison of the walnut tree will kill the grass all around it. And one thing I've also read is you don't want to use walnut mulch in a horsey stall because the horses will get the mulch in their hooves, and once they get the mulch in their hooves, you know, it'll poison them and kill them. There's been little bizarre things I've done at times. I've been warned of the toxin that's in it around the time I first started carving and using my bandsaw. there had been a certain time when I had like cut my thumb trying to cut something out of walnut on the bandsaw, and it was a good thing that they gave me an antibiotic shot or a cortisone shot to kind of kill off any infection that I might have got from it. It was a good thing because while I was sawing out a little carving blank from a piece of walnut and had the saw blade go into my thumb, it would have been a good thing that they did that, because there was a little toxin in the wood I was warned about that could cause that you could get sick from. It couldn't kill a person, but it could make a person sick, from what I've heard. In those days, I was younger and did all kinds of weird and bizarre things. Sometimes in those days, I mean, there was no TikTok back then to show this on, but I would take walnut chips and mix them with my coffee grinds and put the coffee grinds in the coffee filter with the walnut wood chips in them and brew it that way and drink it. Don't think it ever did me any harm, but it was just a simple thing I just wanted to try to do. Guess I must have been immune to it or something, because don't think I ever got sick from it. Some people probably would have, I think. Don't know what it did to the coffee. I mean, I do think it probably gave the coffee a little bit of a walnut flavor, maybe. It's almost like, of all things, they sell at the Berea Artisan Center. There's been some things I've seen there, and they have all these different kinds of syrups to go on pancakes. They have maple syrup there, but I've also seen that they have walnut syrup and pecan syrup. I used to wonder if walnut syrup was made out of the sap of the walnut tree, and if pecan syrup was made out of the sap of the pecan tree, because it was like I knew that maple syrup was made from the sap of the maple tree, so that was just all the more reason I'd have all those questions and thoughts. But probably came to realize with walnut and pecan both being those toxic juglone woods, probably wouldn't have been safe to make it that way. Probably wouldn't have, because the saps of the trees could probably be just as poison as the wood, for all that we know. There's a little work here that we say it makes us come a long way. I'd like to share a little information I've learned in life. Sometimes people make guns from Turkish walnut, and there had been a time when at the woodcraft store they had a lot of Turkish walnut wood there that was left over from gun stock. It was just a bunch of leftover scraps, and I purchased some of them and carved some things out of them just to be doing a little something interesting. But one thing I learned also over time is that there is something called a claro walnut, which is like a type of tree that is kind of like a hybrid between an American walnut and an English walnut. And I found out what a Turkish walnut is it's kind of like an English walnut, except it's planted on Turkish soil. That's what makes it a Turkish walnut. So, and there have been a few times I've tried. I have even sometimes purchased and tried Peruvian walnut, worked with that. Been to the woodcraft store and seen some Japanese walnut there. Thought about buying that and trying to work with it, but it was just much too white to work with. Walnut is prettier when it's brown, so kind of passed on that, coupled with the fact that it was just a little too expensive. I'd like to share while I'm at it a little thing I've been working on today. And because I had been looking for these blanks today and prayed about it, and they showed up later in the same day, but these little guinea pig pieces here I've been carving out of little pieces of tuplio that were or buckeye or something like that, that were certainly left over from other woods and other projects, you know. And once I came down to having these little leftover scraps, see, the scraps just came out in these shapes, so I drew the little lines into them to carve along. And when you carve along these lines, the way I figured it out, that's what they come out to be. They come out to be guinea pigs. So I could tell you a bit more of that in a future video, but as for right now, we've kind of gotten so far and in our minutes, and I've decided it's about time for me to shut this one off and say that I'm done for now. Goodbye.